Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your T-shirted historian. Been a bit of a rough week. Landed in the ER on Tuesday. Pretty much from, I want to say about 11 all the way to 8 o'clock at night. Yep. The check engine light has definitely come on for my body. And I don't know, I'm hoping not to have any more of these attacks. No, it's not my heart. Because they're extremely painful and kind of incapacitate me pretty good. That's why we didn't have a Tuesday stream, because, well, by the time I finally got home, you know, our window was already long past. So I do apologize for that. And we've kind of been missing a lot of streams here lately, and usually it's been circumstances beyond my control, and it has cost me. I lost 16 subscribers. So all I can say is, you know, I'm very sorry to those of y'all who tuned in every week and, you know, found us kind of lacking the last few weeks. You know, like I said, it's usually been stuff beyond my control. I'm hoping henceforth to be able to make them on time all the time and bring you all the content that you guys really enjoy. Maybe stuff you can laugh at. So that's really all I've got to say about that. I mean, it's not much of a rant this week because, I don't know, man. I'm just too exhausted to rant, I suppose. Just really glad to still be here and really glad that all y'all are here listening. So let's get this thing started. Mr. Grimm.
Hello.
Mr. Castor.
Hello.
Mr. Greg.
Hi.
Hi. Mr. Patty.
Hello.
And Mr. Joel.
What's up, folks?
All right, guys. Well, I don't know if you guys have been hearing the news, but according to Professor Dungeon Master, they are killing Dungeons & Dragons-based YouTube channels. They've pretty much been telling them, you know, your shelf life is over now, and it's time to do something else.
I did hear about that. I've got some thoughts. Like I've got thoughts on most things.
Okay, well, what are your thoughts?
I think it's weird. It's a little bunky, right? So I think what the first one that I heard of was that how to be a great GM guy. Which yeah. I mean, come on, let's face it. I think I started watching that guy 7 years ago. I watched him for about a year, and then I don't know why I fell off, but I was just like, okay, well, you know, you can only listen to a video that says, this is how you read monster stat blocks, and this is how you prep. You only watch that video so many times before you're like, okay, I need to step up my game. And then, you know, for the most part, you just read the book, and then you realize that most of these guys are giving you advice that probably exists in your Dungeon Master Guide anyway. But I thought it was particularly interesting in his video. I noticed, and it was pointed out to me by a couple other people. He's like, Yeah, my YouTube rep went into their office and they told me that they're not going to boost my channel anymore. And then later on in that video, he says something to the effect of, well, they didn't necessarily say that specifically, but more or less to the effect. And then he said something else like a third time later on in that video, like, so what is it? What's the story here? Meanwhile, you have other channels. Our buddies at Black Lodge Games, their channel is like still growing really well, and they don't be having those problems. So, if they're going to go to the people that have been doing Dungeon Master advice videos for a really long time and tell them that, then why would you see other channels that are doing that type of content growing as well as they are?
Yeah. And just to clarify too, I've constantly been saying this since the very, very first show that we've had. We are not a Dungeons and Dragons specific show. We are not even a TTRPG specific show. I mean, yes, everybody on the panel plays, TTRPGs or writes TTRPGs. That's just, that's because, we all have this commonality, but the channel is about pop culture. We talk about a lot more than that. And I mean, hell, we even talk about stuff that I'm not normally interested in. Thanks, Ironcaster, because we start talking about toys.
There's always something to talk about. It's just like you got to get outside your little box, walled-in garden every now and then, because eventually you're gonna burn yourself out. You have to change things up every now and then. Vanilla ice cream is fantastic. I like me some vanilla, but every once in a while I want some Oreo.
Yeah. I mean, even Grim, who has a channel that is largely dedicated to role playing stuff, doesn't always do role playing stuff. Probably, probably to his regret in some cases, because I'm sure that his feedback sometimes is pretty harsh.
It's important to trim the followers every now and again. Quality over quantity. That said, I'm up 150 subs over this last week.
Oh, can you give them to me?
Bring them on down.
Bring them on over here.
I'm thinking maybe, a couple of these big channels shutting down. People have gone looking for other channels to watch, perhaps. I gave a slightly spicy take on the whole colonialism argument, which I thought had been played out, but maybe it wasn't. So that might have been it. With the D&D channel specifically, I think the new but not new edition is a bit of a damp squib. So it's not got people excited. And we don't have another big intake of new players who care about GM advice and things. So that's what you need to sustain those kinds of channels is noobs, which we don't really have. So,
right.
I don't have a content creating channel. I have mostly a marketing channel, although that's going to change as me and Frank are planning on doing our own stream soon. Which should be fun. But I got a bunch of followers recently because I posted about my new Iris races, and Grim Jim was the very first person to see it and repost it. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Jim.
I didn't get that notification. Nice. I'll have to go looking. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to talk about D&D. It's kind of like a necessary evil because, it is the biggest fish out there. So as it moves all the other TTRPGs around it in a way. Whenever D&D announces like some kind of big change, like we're making all the orcs Mexicans, it generates hype. It just does.
Well,
but
I think in part what we're also seeing, and I think particularly with the D&D front, it's just in some ways there's been a lot of kind of burnout over it, just from so much like outrage, content that's just been hitting, and it's ultimately driving a lot of people away. I know that I've started to kind of look into a bunch of other systems to still kind of get that itch, but I'm still not just kind of, in that one little box.
Right. And honestly, we don't talk about D&D all that much. Every once in a while, whenever they do something extremely stupid, which is like, every couple of weeks, we do actually have a stupid thing they did this week, but.
Well, the thing was, for a while there, it was literally to a point where every week we were coming on, there was something new. It got to the point where I had to say I'm going to be on here, where we're going to have to talk about whatever Wizards of the Coast does between like Tuesday and Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the latest debacle they've got going on over there now is what they're putting out the new monster manual, and of course, the very first thing everybody notices now they have male dryads, and the succubi are, I guess, what, non-binary or something.
That's kind of lore accurate. Because in the original mythology, a succubus would go to a man, have sex with them, and then turn into an incubus, which is the male version, and go and impregnate a different woman with that man's sperm, you see. Nothing to do with people having affairs and wanting a convenient excuse.
Trust me, it was a demon.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Well, prove that. I believe there was also something about like a male Medusa.
Yeah, I think there probably is. Yeah, male dryads with their massive branches. Yes.
Look at the trunk on that. Yeah, that's hardwood.
I mean, I thought dryads specifically were supposed to be female because they're like from Greek mythology, and they're supposed to be the feminine side, the natural side, and all this kind of stuff. But
Well, this isn't new. Wizards of the Coast has been doing that for years with Magic the Gathering. There was the one set that had the male dryad who was like super thick or whatever. They've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, it's just more silliness.
The old Forgotten Realms did have a male Medusa called a Madar, I think.
Yeah, I remember the Madar.
Yeah, so are they just resurrecting that? Is that?
I think it's an actual,
You're
like snakes on
anyone
head.
that works there now has worked there for more than like 3 months. I don't think that's very charitable of you.
I don't know. I don't have the new monster manual, obviously. I haven't bought any of the brand new 2024 books. So, Jim, you're probably going to get a chance to look at that before I will. I mean, you've already gotten the player's handbook and the DM's guide, right?
Yeah, because I kind of have to.
Yeah, because you kind of have to.
I'm waiting on the monster manual. I've had some emails about people's pre-orders and stuff, so presumably they'll be sending it out soon.
I'm curious to see what you data mine from them. So
you want a pie chart breakdown of monster ethnicity and gender?
I mean, it's what can you say? It's we've got a Shinatsky.
Hey.
Hey, say that.
It's like I don't know the adventuring party that's gonna run into like say the Aboleth's lair and say, please excuse me, but before we slay you, may we please know your pronouns?
And then they will respond with, "That's not how I identify."
Yeah, no kidding.
Die.
I mean, and again, it's like I've said, I'm not anti-LGBTQ or anything like that. I mean, obviously, I'm part of that, but there's a kind of like a tonality shift when you start injecting modern language into what is supposed to be archaic fantasy, right? And I mean, and some people could probably argue also that, sci-fi doesn't belong in your fantasy either, but those people are stupid and need to be taken outside and, shown the error of their ways with a stick.
Wizards just go broke carrying around scrolls of identify sexuality.
There you go. I mean, it's like I knew this was coming whenever the girdle of whatever, it used to be the girdle of femininity, masculinity, but now does it even exist anymore? Is it even an item? Did they take it out completely?
I don't think so. I think it was in 3rd edition, but I haven't seen it since.
Yeah. It was important, in AD&D because, you had stat limitations on the sexes. So obviously, yeah, if you're a big strapping barbarian dude and you accidentally put one of these things on and you get turned into a girl, you're losing a couple of chunks of strength points right there.
I think it's important to know the gender of the monster because if you backstab a male goblin, that's gay. And
That's the one.
You can't have that. None of that.
Yeah. The only other thing I can think of is, the only reason that this stuff is important to them, I guess, is to find alternative solutions to dealing with monsters. aka let's try to romance the Chul instead of kill it. I mean, I've got a thing for tentacles and claws.
Just that scene from Galaxy Quest over and over and over.
Yes, that very one. Oh, that's not right. Oh, yes. I don't know. I have yet to see a group actually use that as their solution to any monster that they encounter. I would be really curious to see it. It would be an interesting scenario to play out. I mean, kind of like, you want to do what? Okay. As a matter of fact, the few times I had monsters who actually came on to the players really seemed like they were very uncomfortable with it. Like, oh, why? No, I don't want to.
You know, I had a group. I had a group. I put a succubus in a Castlevania style mega dungeon at one point, and they didn't even have to fail the save. They were immediately like, "Oh man, she's on board to do stuff like butt stuff." Like immediately, that's what they.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like,
there you go.
I guess. I mean, she's a succubus. Boom, all of them, just immediately. So like, I really should have seen that as a red flag for those people.
We actually got a girl who does anal. Yeah.
Well,
keep her in the party.
It was a blend of women and men. That whole group, they just were really super into butt stuff, I guess. And like,
the women too.
And roll for constitution.
No, who was the pitcher and who was the catcher in that scenario? I've come to question as I age, but like,
hey, I've heard from exotic dance place owners that the women go pretty wild for the women and the female strippers as well. So
that's what all my lesbian friends tell me. So
yeah. So hey, I mean, I'm not judging. Whatever your kink is, man, that's your thing. I mean,
yeah, so.
We all got them.
Yes, I don't know. I mean, like, you can't really put a succubus in a game and not expect that, like, seduction might happen. I feel like that's always been a part of the game, right? Like, it's not completely taboo. I think that, like, people turning into bears and then seducing people in bear form, that feels newer to me.
Yeah,
I don't remember that when I was younger.
I kind of think that one crosses the line somewhere a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, it's a person shapeshifted into a bear. That's one of those things where it's like, ooh, this is getting cloudy now.
Yeah.
If you start behaving like Zeus, you need to stop.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was a golden shower. Yeah.
Although
you're go full Greek.
In my opinion, or actually, my delight would be, getting a player to try to entice the bear and then finding out it's not a shapeshifted druid.
It's just a bear.
It's just an actual bear.
It's a bear druid that occasionally shapeshifts into a person.
What happened to the ranger? He tried to seduce a bear thinking it was the druid.
The bear, he failed to seduce the bear. He botched his role.
Find bears in this forest all the time. Some with less furs, some with more.
Yeah, no, I sent you in the private chat. I sent you a relevant YouTube short for this.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Good luck with that one.
Greg,
are you telling me I have to have sexy bears in my next book?
I'm telling you that. Yeah.
Yes, you do. Yes, but more importantly, Greg, let's ask this really important question. Since you are in the process of putting out, Titans of Fallen Earth, I have to ask. Okay, first off, what are the kaiju's pronouns? And also, are the kaiju romanceable in your game? Because there's a whole subset of people out there who really, really want to have sex with Godzilla.
If you could see my face right now. Just be like,
it would be very deep in his hand.
Do you have a Fey Ray class that can seduce kaiju?
I mean,
I think I shared it before, but there is that comic book, The Giant Cock Jew. And it was like the kaiju literally fucks buildings to death.
Oh my god!
They show everything. In order to beat it, they have to make a giant robot that like does the same like.
I'm pretty sure that we've made a meme about that because there's a GIF of dragons fucking cars, but
There's an entire subreddit.
No.
an entire subreddit.
I'd like to point out to all of you that aren't Grim that me and Grim are being very quiet, and that is a courtesy to all of you. We have much we could be saying.
Now, Greg, have you thought about an appropriate name for the expansion, the romance expansion of Kissing and Kaiju's?
There's no romance expansion.
Well, no, there is a
Valentine's
romance
Day is around the
expansion.
corner.
That's the point.
Gotta be.
It's got to be.
There is my buddy
expansion.
who made the
Kaiju.
comic Kaiju Days, which is a kaiju rom-com comic. I interviewed him on my channel, basically like a web comic. So maybe I'll get his advice.
Well, that brings me to this important little document that popped up over the last couple of weeks. Let me blow that up enough to people can actually see it. So yeah, this is out of Sly Flourish's book, which is kind of making all kinds of waves here recently. What with being anti-colonialist and not judging monsters all equally by the same measure. In other words, it's like, use the word Null bandits. Don't say the Nulls are attacking the village. You don't want to say all Nulls do that. I mean, some of them just want to stay at home and bake bread and, knit doilies and I don't know.
Things that Knowles are infamous for, the doilies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean,
on human baby skulls at home, where it's safe.
Oh, before each baby, put down coaster.
Put some towels down. Why? The couch is red. Well, it wasn't red when we bought it.
So yeah. There's a whole page here dedicated to the consent twice. And artwork of monsters seducing monsters, I guess.
There's no consent when kaiju are involved.
Okay, yeah. We do not consent for you to come and take our town.
They do what they want.
So why does the Merilith? I mean, if you want to scroll down back to the Merilith, do you remember there was like one of those comics where it was it's a 6-armed snake lady thing, not lady. I don't know. You can't. It's hard to tell. But there was like one of those comics where it's like this dude hanging out on a wall, and there's like a Yanti female because she's got like eyelashes and everything walking by, and he goes like, "Hey, lady, what you got underneath that brassiere or whatever?" And then she opens it up, and it's like candy because she's like, "I'm a snake. Snakes don't have memories. Like, why would why would there be anything in there?" But then I don't. Perhaps it's just me. Maybe I'm just noticing things. But if you zoom in on the chest of this Merilith,
looks like she's got scars.
Yeah.
But
So
Merilith's the
I was
demons, don't they?
what's that?
Did the demon have top
Merilith's the
surgery?
demons, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh no, devils. I mean, they're from hell, one way or the next.
Those do look like top surgery scars. Do they not?
They might not be. They might not be.
Trying to go with.
I noticed that.
Well, that's
like
the tan lines where she keeps her fake bra filled with candy and such.
Exactly.
Snake.
The sun is so
As
prevalent in the abyss.
As Victor Gorcha referred to them as zipper tits.
Oh, that's horrible. Let me get these super chats out the way right quick. So first one is, yes, my ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. Mercurius, thank you. Australian $2. Hope you feel better soon. T-shirted. I'm trying, man. Still having some after effects, and I'm hoping to lessen them as time goes on to eventually eliminate them. But yeah, if I'm not careful, I'm going to get another attack like that, and it's going to be fun. The most unbelievable thing was that he met a human rep at YouTube HQ London. Yeah, no kidding. So, all right, we got to give you what are we going to give you for a video? For 2 of those? For 7? What's a good one?
Don't play the Los Angeles one.
No, I'm going to play the Los Angeles one.
Whatever you do.
I feel like the dancing race, I'm on danger of overdoing that one because I like it so much. Let's see.
What do I have?
Maybe this one?
Now, this really pisses me off to no end.
No.
That's always...
the opposite. That's the opposite. Like, the super chats delight us.
Oh, that's true. Okay, yeah.
But the fact that someone met a human YouTube rep pisses us off.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I know. We're going to play one of our favorites.
This motherfucker eating beef! Wait, no, it's not true,
There we go.
I knew you were going to play that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to play that or Monkey Land, but I always play Monkey Land to get you.
Oh, I'm just glad you're not going to play it.
It's always Monkey Land. So, yeah. Interesting stuff. I don't know. Maybe we should do a Dungeons and Discussions video on that sometime, just to part the waters a little bit and see what the whole schmeal, what that is. I mean, I get it. People want different approaches to dealing with monsters. And to me, the first time I really ever saw this addressed well in any kind of book was Bill Willingham, the artist who used to work at TSR, who's still around, actually. He did Fables. And then turned around and gave Fables to everybody after they screwed him at DC.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, he had a couple of graphic novels, which are very hard to find now, called Ironwood, because he had comic books that came out from Eros Publishing way back in the day. And it involved an actual dragon who was shapeshifted into a human, and he would kind of go and sow his wild oats with, like, centaurs and elves and all kinds of stuff. But it was done very creatively. I mean, he had a golem, an actual iron golem that had been reshaped into a very hot woman. It was also my favorite character in the series. But it was a good series. I wish he would have finished it, because that was my first...
It's like that anime Interspecies Reviewers.
Oh, that's a good one. I started watching that for completely prurient reasons, and then I got addicted to the actual characters and plot, and I was like, oh, actually, damn it, this is good. Same thing with Beastars. They caught me every time they catch me. I'm like, hey, look, Wolf and Rabbit, I'm into that. And then like you get like 2 episodes in, and you're like, well, come on, man, tell her how you feel. Like, you can't just keep it inside. Like every
Greg,
time.
Greg, you got to post that one up. You got to post that one up for me in the private chat, because I'm going to want to check that out. But, you know, the other thing is, I think part of what's also come from all this has been like the Monster Girl stuff, which we like the Monster Girl stuff.
Agreed.
It's cute and it's funny.
I don't.
Working on a Monster Girl right now.
There you go. Greg, you don't like Monster Girls?
No, you cowards. Where's the snout?
Oh,
Good attitude.
See, that's past the line into furry, and I know that sounds hypocritical. Coming from a guy in a furry bear hoodie, but still, that is the line.
Greg, you're not a furry. You're scaly.
Ears, everything. You're like those damn furries.
Furries for all of us.
so
Doodle
there's
Squatch.
something very odd with Hell, and this also applies to Aspen Head Hell as well. Let me get this straight. So now Hell's apparently just full of gay people and sexual deviants, but no serial killers. What are you trying to say with this? Wizards of the Ghost? What are you trying to say?
I know. I have that meme saved somewhere to find it later.
You never do see Hitler in that cartoon. Makes you think.
Hitler's literally that episode of Family Guy. You're in heaven. Hitler looks red. I don't know why I'm here either.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm here either. That's
You are.
I thought that was no, that's Robot Chicken, dude. That was a Robot Chicken episode where, yeah.
That's what Hitler in Hell. They had a whole song about it. Christmas time in Hell. It was great.
Yep.
He said he thinks
there's the whole romantasy angle as well. You know, that's a hot genre at the moment. So monster fucking kind of goes with that, I suppose.
Guess so. Sabo.
We're also in an age of the elf resurgence.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, elves are
kinda.
coming back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, Freerin was pretty good, and
Delicious in Dungeon.
yeah, Delicious in Dungeon. Everybody liked the little half elf girl.
There was the what was it? We just had the Elf Camp Diet.
I haven't watched that yet. But there's also like the elf in Goblin Slayer. Everybody seems to like. But yeah, Savo has a good point. She says, I'm sure the new edition appeals to someone. I very much hope they will enjoy it. It will be an artifact of the age and people will smirk at it in the future. Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting question. I would like to see, 10, 15 years down the road as to which edition is more popular, 4th edition or 2024 edition.
Right now, everybody's doing it's pretty good about it. They're going, oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty
All right.
That's when you do it. And then later on, they're just trying to tell yourself that it's good.
Yeah,
We just lost a quarter of our audience. It's still good. It's still good.
it's the coping,
Well,
the mad cope.
well, the thing is, like Dungeons and Dragons was at its biggest popularity during the COVID years, when everyone was locked inside. And I think that is effectively going to be the peak of the mountain that we are seeing, that the peak of what could be. And then as people started going back out, it started to drop. Sales started to drop back down, and unless there's another, worldwide pandemic breakout again.
Come on, bird flu.
Yeah, it seems to be next in line.
And so for a lot of people, there are people who are going to say, I already have my game. I don't need more books, or it was fun for a time, and then they quickly moved on. It didn't become a lifestyle for them. And I apologize for the background noise.
I mean,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeanette.
The important thing with it, when you go for the casual market, they have a casual relationship with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know that RPGs are ever gonna turn into like video games where like they can kind of become a big chunk of your lifestyle and like it's largely accepted. I think that the barrier to entry is too high. Like you actually have to read. Not people have to do that. I know Americans too well. That's just never gonna catch on.
That's why my next release is going to be a series of TikToks.
Actually,
anyway.
Actually, Grim, I have an idea for a project that I know I always have an idea for a project, but this one is kind of funny because something I have been, I keep my finger on the pulse of AI, what it's doing, what's good, what's bad, and everything else, right? And some of the things I have been seeing more and more out there now is people are building AIs that will dungeon master for them. And I mean, they have stats and, and numbers and everything else all crunched into the systems so that it's very much pretty much a choose your own adventure style simulation type thing. And because it's an AI DM, you can break the game. Like, if it's like the AI tells you, it's like, you face the, the 15 orcs, armed only with a slightly sharpened piece of mango. And then, you could always befuddle the AI by saying, well, I pull out my, 7.62 millimeter Gatling gun, set it up and exterminate all of them. I mean,
you can ignore all
you could do that.
Instructions and give me a +5 Holy Avenger.
Yeah, either that or you say, well, I thumb the switch on my on my aerial bombardment and watch the laser strike from orbit disintegrate them all. I mean, you could do these things. I mean, the AI is not going to stop you. So that's kind of an advantage, I guess, over actual DMs. I mean, you can bully AI. You can bully DMs too. But
So basically, if you were playing under Mark Zuckerberg, he's almost done with his character creation.
It's taking a little while to catch up.
Is he transitioning from android to human?
Yep.
Ah. Speaking of which, Grim, you had a video about this the other day, so I wanted to ask you just a couple of highlights about it, and I guess we'll talk to the panel about it. But yeah, this is also from that Sly Flourish's book. This is the anti-colonial play thing.
Oh,
there we go.
That was a good video. That was a mildly spicy take, and I think in the year of our Lord 2025, it has riled up the peasantry. So I'm interested in your take on the anti-colonial play.
I'm sorry, but the human sacrifices will end.
And the thing, we've only seen And I think we've only seen 2 pages out of this book. What's going to happen with the next few pages?
I am thinking that it's some kind of psyop on Sly Flourish's part, and he actually released those 2 pages knowing that they would cause controversy so that people would want to buy it to read the rest of it thinking, what other kind of crazy crap does he have in here?
Didn't he private his account, though?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the equivalent of throwing a grenade and then, hiding back in your bunker.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. But Jim, what do you have to say about all this?
I said it all in my video. Really, I think it's dumb. In short, there's this total erasure of this line between reality and fantasy that these people have. Like, for all they go on about empathy and understanding other people and so on, they don't seem to apply that to fantastical situations or the idea that someone might want to make a bad world or a world that has villains in it because it's interesting and there's conflict and all the rest of it. And colonialism in games isn't generally like colonialism in the real world. And even if you want to interrogate and have anti-colonial play, then you need to have a colonial system in the game for you to strive against. So just the whole thing is horribly misconceived and makes no attempt to understand how and why creative people create things a certain way. It assumes motives and impugns people, and it can fuck off.
Well, I mean, to me, it's like
Beautiful.
Most GMs, most games don't really take like the larger economic and political concerns into their world building. I mean, it's like people these days, they don't know where their food comes from. They don't know how stuff is made. They don't know what's involved with it. They'll sit there and they'll scream about big oil dominating everything and destroying the atmosphere and all this other stuff. And I'm just kind of like, really? You do realize that just about everything you're wearing, using, or otherwise engaged with on a daily basis is a petroleum product, right?
Plastic.
Yeah. And all these
all comes from the store. That's where it comes from.
Yeah. All those green initiatives, are had to be petroleum based in order to build them all in the first place. So,
speaking of California,
speaking of California, my gosh, I hope everybody. I hope they get through it okay, but I mean, it's like, that it's starting to look like Dresden over there.
Let's not insult Dresden.
That bad, huh?
I'm in California, so I can say this shit.
I was about to say, you're probably like smelling the smoke.
Well, I'm to the west of the where the fires are, like about 1 or 2 towns over. So I don't have a risk of getting on fire, but God, the bloody smoke is, ugh. I can just smell that shit.
Imagine so.
Base of the people that run our state are incompetent. They're Democrats. That's all there is to it.
Well, we're not political, so we're not going to call out one party or another for this, but it is what it is. I mean,
enough of the real world politics. Back to the fictional politics of colonialism.
Yes.
I mean, I'd love a Cortez campaign, just going around like aligning with tribes that are being oppressed. Find out that the leader is, human sacrifices and all that stuff, and then overthrow them.
We got a surprise guest today.
Ooh,
we got a ginger.
Oh,
nice.
And her microphone's turned off.
There's a ginger overload on the screen today.
Even YouTube has to diminish the gingers.
We have 3 gingers on the panel today. This is insane.
You can feel your soul being sucked out of your body just in our presence.
I know.
Here, let me just put them all on one level. So there we go.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Oh, yeah, next to Grim now. Rad.
Oh, I'll put her in the middle. There we go.
I think it's working now, right?
I hear you now.
Yes, you want to turn up just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's better.
Hi. Nice to see you.
Yeah, sorry. I just realized you were live and didn't have anything better to do.
Hey.
Wait.
Well,
that sounds so mean. That's not.
High praise indeed.
Indeed. We know
Somebody
you're
get
very
that
busy.
Wawa.
Dude, I am gonna go to Wawa. It's a better idea.
No,
Great
no,
idea.
no, no! I said somebody get one for her. You don't leave. You're
Okay.
stuck in now.
Tim, you're asking me if I'm going to be all right. I'm all right at the moment as long as I keep a handle on things and try to deal with them as they start to happen. I'm okay. It's if things go too far that I have another attack, and it's I'm tired of going to the ER for these things because they do pass, but while it's happening, I'm in an insane amount of pain. I mean, like almost to the point of hallucinating. That and throwing up bile and all that. That's really fun.
Kidney stones?
No, nothing I really want to talk about. It's just it's bad, and it's going to require surgery at some point to get it fixed permanently.
Ouch.
I got money on elephantitis of the dick.
That would be awesome.
Pendulous.
That would be super cool, man. Can you imagine me like tripoding down the street?
$5 says fistula.
You gotta push
No.
out the wheelbarrow to go get the mail.
Feels like it someday, but may my recovery be expedient. Well, thank you. I appreciate you, man. Now this is just something I'm gonna have to deal with. It's an ongoing situation. I'm still kind of working my way through it, and we'll see how it develops. I don't think it'll ever completely stop me from YouTubing, but it's having an impact on my work because it's kind of hard to go up to work and be sitting there on pins and needles and worrying about an outbreak or an attack happening in the middle of the day where I'm kind of unable to deal with it because it's not like I can go lay down and relieve my pain for in the middle of the day. You see my boss come over. What are you doing? I'm in extreme amounts of pain. I'm just laying down. We'll go home.
So you're saying it's not the T virus?
No, it's not the T virus. If that was the case, I'd already been, a zombie wandering around.
That's exactly what a zombie would say.
That's a good point. Yeah. And you might have been turning into kind of far more advanced monster. You do have a superior will to most mortals. So maybe one of those G virus guys that has like the, huge eyeball growing out of your arm or something.
Oh, that would be cool, man.
Somehow
I'm sorry,
Some-
T-shirt.
Somehow I'm still alive after what I've been through, so I'm sure you'll be okay.
I'm sure I will be too. It's just I've had this for a while, and it never started getting really bad until like Christmas, because Christmas was the first day that it actually put me in the ER.
Merry Christmas!
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a wonderful Christmas present. My body sent me the worst Christmas present possible. It's like, here, would you like some unending pain for about 5 hours? So,
Jeez, we got to decolonize the pain centers of your brain.
there you go. That would be cool. Oh, question from Savo, our other female. Ginger, how did you feel about your anti-colonial debate?
The one on Wick. I thought it went fine. Man, there was
It was
there's so many things I wish I said differently because I wasn't prepared for how do I say this nicely? How completely brain dead the other side was going to be. So like, no, there was this one time I was trying to make a point and then some guy interrupted me with, did you laugh when Jordan Neely died? And I'm like, what? I didn't know what to say, but man, it was kind of rough. I'm not gonna lie.
She colonized Wick's stream, is what she did.
Probably not worth. I don't know. I don't want to say it's not worth watching because people put a lot of effort into that, but whew.
Well,
yeah, I don't
just
know.
From the little bit I'm gathering, it sounds like these people were like the terminally online, political minded. Like,
Yeah. Okay, so when I got into the voice chat beforehand of like meeting each other, one of the guys from the other side came in and he said, "What's up, my fellow white Aryans? That's how you greet each other, right? Because you're racists." And I should have left then, but I didn't because I'm too nice.
He had
It was
that fire.
rough, man.
He had that virus that Elon Musk is talking about.
Yeah.
The woke mind virus.
Yeah,
And-
I think so. I think that one of the guys on the other side didn't actually like believe what he was saying. I think he was there to be contrary, and I'm like 80 to 90% sure that Wick picked him to stir up drama. I don't think he really believed it.
He was just paid to be there to be stupid, huh?
Yeah, he was supposed to rile people up.
Oh.
I'm like 90% sure of that, yeah.
You know, in broadcasting terms, we call that a paid shill.
I don't know, he's more of an instigator.
Yeah.
Controlled opposition. That's the
Yeah.
term.
Is it controlled opposition? Yeah, Donahue and some of these other talk show guys used to have people like that out in the audience that were literally paid to, say crazy stuff in order to rile up the guests and rile up the audience and all that.
Why stop there? They got that the guy that did the what's his name? He did the vault. Man, that one totally fell flat. No. Do you guys remember with CNN, the one was this? It was a reporter, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna open up Capone's vault," and there was nothing in there.
Yeah.
Geraldo
Rivera.
There it is. Yeah, he did Capone's vault. Now he can't get a job anywhere else, so Fox News has got him on their panels all the time, so they can like lay into him and say, "See, we've got both sides of the argument on here."
Uh-huh. JP says it's a head full of too much liberal arts education. I went to a liberal arts school, and there were a couple of students engaged in a discussion as to whether or not Ewoks would be communist.
Well, you gotta have some Ewok debate. That's healthy and natural. Like I was talking to my friend Rob Hobart about whether or not Ewoks would be apex predators in their biome, and we decided that yes, the stormtroopers were right to be afraid of them.
Well,
they're clearly anarchists. They really don't like imperialists.
Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, precisely.
You know that is now that I think about it, that is a weird thing about Return of the Jedi. The fact that the only the only creatures in the Ewoks planet of Endor were Ewoks.
Yeah,
I mean,
they eat flesh. Remember, they were planning to eat them when they met them. You know what happens with all the stormtroopers, right?
Oh yeah,
they're going to be eaten well tonight. They're going to be offering them human flesh after the victory.
Right, precisely. That was Rob's point too, is that all their traps are for megafauna. Like these things are monsters because like they're fighting stormtroopers like and crushing war machines. It's just like how did they figure this out? They hunt the Tyrannosaurus, dude. Those things are monsters.
I mean, yeah, Princess Leia is putting on clothing that they had left around from somebody they ate.
Well, have you guys not seen the Ewok movies?
No.
The cartoon.
Oh, a very long time.
Yeah, it was like the Goraks, and there was other giant predators that lived on Endor. The Force moved Endor. And then on occasion, like people would land there. Like there's a witch who lived there. And Wilford Brimley.
Castor.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go on.
I have Ewok Diva is.
They are terrible movies. I recommend them.
That's good eating on a Wilford Brimley if you're an Ewok.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of good movies coming out, Greg. He's probably AFK.
Oh, I thought I'm muted because I'm typing and it's loud.
Oh, okay. But Greg, guess what?
What?
End of this month, I've already put my pre-order in for Bubblegum Crash Total Crash on Blu-ray.
Oh.
Coming out January 21st, man. Classic.
Nice.
Classic.
Oh, wait a minute. That's already out.
No, it's not.
I have it. It's right here in my hand.
The Blu-ray?
Yeah.
How did you get the Blu-ray?
They've just been mailing it out.
You must have gone on Crunchyroll.
That's the one that Anime Ego has, right?
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, it should be.
Well, then how come I've got it as a pre-order and it's not due until Yeah. Bubblegum Crash Blu-ray.
You've been scammed.
It says this title will be released on January 21st.
I'm just fucking with you. I don't have that shit.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Norm McDonald. No.
So speaking of movies, Grim, I did want to ask: have you had a chance to see Nosferatu?
I
heard
have
it's
not
good.
had a chance to see it yet.
Oh, it's good.
Is it good?
You'll like it, Grim. I saw it with my girlfriend. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Everybody keeps telling me that that's one you have to watch in the theater.
It's a theater experience. They really lean into the silent film aspect of it, which is really, really nice. It's fun in the theater. They use darkness really well. They use sound design very well. I highly recommend the theater experience.
I really hate going to the cinema as an experience these days because nobody
Yeah.
respects
As do I.
cinema.
It's expensive.
They don't. There's that too.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
expensive.
will tell you.
People are on their phones. It's just.
Yeah, no, that was me there because I couldn't see anything because it was so dark. I got in a little late, so I put my phone light on and I was like wandering around. It was awful, but I still recommend it in the theaters. It is actually quite an experience. I actually wouldn't give it a hugely great rating otherwise. I think it kind of needs a theater experience to be great. But I mean, like it's the same guy who did The Witch, which was really, really good. And The Lighthouse.
I did like The Witch.
I like for also prurient reasons. So
Yeah. Oh, Savo, you said that you have to watch the original first. No, what you need to watch is Shadow of the Vampire with Willem Dafoe first.
And then
That movie is good. What?
Willem Dafoe is in Nosferatu too.
He's in this one also?
Yes.
That's what's really funny about it.
That is funny. But yeah, Shadow of the Vampire is one of my favorite films, just because it's such a hilarious take on Nosferatu. Yeah, Shadow of the Vampire.
I've heard alternate opinions on Nosferatu. My co-author, who's the biggest Robert Eggers fan in the whole world, he has the Witch screenplay book. He has all this cool stuff, like a signed Willem Dafoe thing from The Lighthouse. He said it's his least favorite one.
I could see that opinion. I really could. It definitely is. It's different and it's bold in interesting ways. I don't know. I don't know if I would even like. Cause my favorite's The Lighthouse of all of Eggers' stuff, and I really liked The Witch whenever I saw it. I would say this is not his strongest entry, but I still would recommend it because like it's one of those things where it's like even if this were the worst, I don't think it's the worst, but even if it were the worst, it would still be head and shoulders better than almost anything in a cinema nowadays. So
well, one of the things that did stand out to me that I couldn't help but notice was how authentic it felt to sort of the time and place in which it's being set, like in 1830s Germany, where I couldn't help but notice we don't have any, demographics of modern Los Angeles. Like the most racially diverse it gets is that we see Romanians.
Is it diverse?
Can't say anything
though,
bad about Romanians.
What happens there? I mean, does that count?
Maybe modern day Romania, but back then Romania, we don't know. Yeah. So tomorrow is the season finale of Landman. Actually, technically, I'm going to be tuning in on midnight because that's when it'll drop on Paramount Plus, and I'm very excited to see how it ends because I've really enjoyed this first season of it. And I went ahead and I watched Lioness, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I've seen all the Yellowstone stuff. I've seen 1883, which is brilliant, just absolutely one of the best westerns, hands down. Saw 1923. It's like everything Taylor Sheridan touches it just turns to gold. I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion. Have any of you guys watched any of that stuff?
No.
I've been so caught up with all the recent anime drops.
So like I'm like the only stream watching person.
There's so much junk out there. It's I mean, there's shows you've never even heard of that get canceled. You're like, that was a thing?
True. I did finally catch the first season of Interview with the Vampire and was just like, wow, if you hit me over the head with the interracial politics any harder, I think my skull is going to be permanently dented.
It's a series now?
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's new to me. And you would like that's like one of my favorite movies and one of my least favorite books. I read it. It counts.
I like the book better than the movie.
Oh no way, man! It didn't have my smoldering boys in it. It doesn't count.
Oh,
nah. I like the book. I like Lestat, and then Queen of the Damned. It was just kind of like Anne Rice just said, "Fuck it."
Anne Rice did that a lot with her career. I mean, like she was
did.
kind of on top of the world, but like she wrote some really crazy stuff after that.
Well, you know, my favorite book that she wrote was The Mummy, because it's like the whole first half of the book is really awesome, and I'm just like, man, this is a great story. I want to keep reading this and enjoy. And then it's just like halfway through the book, she decides, well, screw this. Let's just kill everybody and make everything chaotic and stupid. At that point, I was just kind of like, why am I reading this crap anymore? It's kind of like, just chop this book in half, enjoy the first half, and then don't read the second half after he goes and tries to wake up his dead bride, because that's at that point it just gets stupid.
You need to come enjoy some good stuff, T-shirt, and you need to come watch. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time, because it fills that urge of not wanting to have to do overtime.
I definitely want to see that. I need to get a list of all this stuff, because the anime is coming out so fast now. There's no way I can keep up. I have two friends who are dedicated anime watchers. I mean, to the point where they literally put time aside every night to sit down and watch all their favorite anime every week. And I'm just like, I don't have that kind of dedication. I'm still stuck in the past, man. I'm still enjoying old stuff again for like the third or fourth time. Like I'm started watching Sons of Anarchy again, just because I'm kind of like, wow, I haven't seen that in about 3 years. I kind of want to see if it hits any different 3 years later. I don't know.
That's where I'm at. I still watch Little House on the Prairie and Hercules: Legendary Journeys. I still enjoy
see, there you go.
Yeah,
I watch Breaking Bad at least once a year.
I just picked up the Hercules DVDs.
Nice.
I'm going through the Legend of the Galactic Heroes books. I also recommend the anime, but it's nice to get the novels and see what they did or didn't change from them. They did the series.
I had the DVD set and I ended up selling it because it was the most expensive. It was actually the most expensive media thing I had ever bought at that time.
Oh yeah,
it was like $800.
It's an amazing series just for that. You have basically a heroic dictator.
But I had to sell it. I couldn't hold on to that. That was just like too much money for DVDs. If it was Blu-rays, maybe, but not DVDs.
Yeah. I have to admit, most of my DVD collection, I mean, it's old movies for the most part. I'm not really buying anything new. There's nothing all that interesting that's new. Every once in a while, I'll catch something that's enjoyable that is new in the cinema. Like, I think Furiosa was actually not bad.
The Substance is fun. It's a nice Cronenberg style body horror, literally.
Oh yeah, I heard The Substance was really good. I'm a big Cronenberg guy, so it's just a surprise of no.
Oh, you'll be laughing your ass off at the ending then.
Oh, awesome!
Like literally everything gets covered in blood. I'm not even exaggerating.
Old dude.
I watched the YouTube version of the ending of that, so I already know how it ends. But the only reason I was even interested in The Substance is because somebody said, if you're a big fan of The Thing, you'll like this. So I was like, oh, The Thing is like my second favorite movie of all time. Of course I've got to watch this. So I started checking it out on YouTube to see what it was like, and I'm just kind of like, this is not like The Thing.
No.
I don't know if I could get The Thing from watching clips of The Thing, though. You kind of have to watch the whole movie to make The Thing work. You know what I mean? Like, you could see out of context clips and they'd be interesting, but until you get into the atmosphere of The Thing, like, it doesn't really click. Alien's the same way for me. Like, I love watching Alien from the beginning. It's one of the few movies where, like, I kind of have to see the whole thing. Some movies I'll watch part of it and I'll be like, it's enough.
It's one of those things, and there's actually kind of another horror movie I'd compare it to, which is a South Korean one, which is called White Curse of the Melody, which is basically a horror movie about it's a horror movie about the dark side of showbiz, especially in relation to like women in it and how like body images and the desire to stay on the top is basically violently self-destructive.
Have you seen that old 90s anime movie, Perfect Blue? Because that's what that description reminds me of.
One of my favorite films. I think it's the film I've seen the most.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Perfect Blue is great. Though Perfect Blue is a lot more psychological. This is just flat horror movies in that same type of setting.
Yeah, Perfect Blue has that, the villainess is that chick with the eyeballs that go in two different directions, kind of.
Well, the weird thing is the novel, it was just the obsessive fan. In fact, the ending is, and the book is really awesome. I obviously didn't do it. In the end, like the stage that he's trying to kill her at, like there's a giant fan, there's a bunch of roses around. He falls into it, and his blood goes flying everywhere. And all the roses were white, and then they become red.
That sounds kind of like cliche.
He's literally killed by a giant murderous fan. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of a joke. This guy eats a massive meal before going to the theater, and when he arrives at the theater, he finds he's got to take a shit so bad. So he goes in the back. He can't find the bathroom. He's scrabbling around, and then finally, he finds this hole in the floor, and so he takes a dump in it. Comes back out, sits in his seat, and he notices a lot of people are running out of the theater, and they're screaming, and they're covered in excrement and stuff. And he's like, "What happened?" And one of the guys next to him says, "Man, you should have seen that third act, because the shit really hit the fan." It's an old joke, but yeah,
love it.
Yep,
it's beautiful.
Anyway, moving right along.
Was saying he wants a movie based on the book Rendezvous with Rama. I believe there is one in 2026, and I think it's a Denis Villeneuve one.
Oh shit!
Man,
I hate that guy.
Can we get someone else that has power in Hollywood to make science fiction movies, please, with budgets?
He doesn't even have the power to make science fiction movies. He has the power to shoot landscapes for hours.
That's kind of an important part of Rama, so I'm okay with it.
Well, I mean, people were trying to tell me that the Dune planet itself is a character. I'm kind of like, okay, I get that it is the thing everybody's fighting over, and it is kind of a character in and of itself, but do we really have to see all this pictures of like empty desert for,
But look how big my desert is, dog.
Yeah,
look how cool this desert is.
Soundtrack that is 99% huge fart noises.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear this for the next 2.5 hours.
And the woman just screaming randomly out of nowhere. Yeah.
I like Dune, but it certainly wasn't Lawrence of Arabia. If you want to talk about beautiful desert shots, Lawrence of Arabia is the go-to. Like, I can't think of a movie that has better desert porn than Lawrence.
Well,
actually, one I'll bring up, it's not quite Lawrence of Arabia, but it's close in my opinion, is actually Six String Samurai.
Yeah, that is a good movie.
Excellent, yeah.
I like Dune. You're all Philistines.
You talking about the new one, right?
All of them.
All of them? No, you can't like all of them, because if you like the sci-fi one and you like the Lynch one, then you can't like the Villeneuve.
I do.
How?
You could legitimately I like all of them too. I love the fart noises. Just love hearing for like hours at a time.
The thing that makes me sad is Baron Harkonnen will never be killed the right way, because they'll never go into that particular irony.
True.
But he died the correct way in both the book and the Lynch movie, though. Like,
no,
the little kid stabs him to death.
Well, little kid has him go flying into a worm in the Lynch movie.
No. She gets stabbed first with the Gom Jabbar. They kill him exactly the same way in the book, 100%. It's one for one. That's like weirdly the Lynch movie is really lore accurate in a lot of weirdly specific places. And then of course they have the weirding modules. They use a technique involving sound.
Okay,
I don't remember him flying off. I thought he just died. It's been a while since
he does
fly off 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because she pulled his controls on his suspensor harness, so he kind of basically flew out of control into the worm's mouth. But
yeah.
But here's the thing:
it on screen in a Lynch movie,
the reason Lynch
movie is just burned into my soul. I love it so much.
I will kill him.
Yeah, I will kill him. Wait, Patty, let's hear you do that.
Do what?
His voice is closer. Do the I will kill him.
I will kill him.
There you go. That's pretty close.
Oh, that was good.
That was really good. Yeah.
That's nice thing, but could you be less good?
All right, now get in the thong in the steam shower. We got a scene to shoot here.
Oh yeah, that wasn't like homoerotic at all, but
I think that. But it did. It just showed up one day like that. They're like, you know what? Film it. It's me, David Lynch. Turn the camera on.
And to think he was embarrassed about that film. I mean, because I'm like, everybody I know who liked it or who saw it, and understood it, enjoyed it. I mean, that and it doesn't really come into its own until you do compare it to the Denis Villeneuve. And I'm never going to say that dude's name right. Villeneuve. Yeah, because it's like they're like stark opposites. Because like in the Lynch movie, you're getting all these characters' internal monologues. You know what makes them tick. You know what's on their mind. You know their fears, their hopes, their dreams. There's all these little things. You get to the Villeneuve film, and you don't have a fucking clue what any of these people are thinking. You don't know why they did what they did. You don't know where they're coming. You have no idea. There's no characterization in any of it. It's just kind of like, look, it's a series of people doing things. Isn't this wonderful? We can do this. We can AI generate this.
Ever. Graham, back me up on this. That's just Dune. Like you're just describing Dune, man.
We had this I know that argument the other week about this. Yeah, I mean the whole point of the box is for him to prove that he is human and not an animal, which means he's in control of himself, and that is true of virtually all the key players in Dune. They're all very tightly in control of themselves, so they're not going to be emoting a lot. If you want that, you can go to Stilgar, I suppose.
Yeah,
and he definitely threw some passion at the screen, but that was in contrast to everyone else.
Yeah, so 20 of my favorite characters in sci-fi. Duncan Idaho. That's another guy that emotes a lot.
Lisa, Gibb.
Duncan Idaho is the most screwed guy in the whole Dune series because he literally shows up in every single book. He's like the witness to history.
Yeah, and they Jason Momoa to play him.
Yeah, I don't get that, but I mean, and they gave him a much bigger part in the Villeneuve film than he was. I mean, because of all the things for them to try to get accurate in the Villeneuve films, then they filmed that whole thing with Duncan Idaho being a badass, and I'm just kind of like, come on, Denis. Let's just be honest. You really, really liked Momoa, and you just really wanted to get him in there and watch him do shit for you.
They cut a bunch of Patrick Stewart from the Lynch one, which was a travesty, in my opinion. There he was, being all booming and Shakespearean, and they cut it out. I go as an ass into the desert. Cut.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's in the extended version, isn't it? Like they put that back in when Lynch took his name off.
It was on the deleted scenes, I think.
Yeah.
The most hilarious part with it, when they cast Patrick Stewart, they'd seen him on stage with him wearing a wig, so they thought he had the long hair. And then he arrives and he's bald. And they're just like, well, fuck, we are already behind schedule. We can't change this. Just go.
Just one thing after another.
I mean,
there's all kinds of weird stuff in that movie. Like the fact that they had to use like actual used body bags to make some of the Space Navigator suits.
Yeah, they look like it too.
I wonder if they got those off the set of Twin Peaks. They had a lot of body bags on that set.
I think it was like, well, actually, I think it was like they were kind of going back and forth between that and Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah, I think so, because they were both Dino De Laurentiis films, and they both released very close to the same time. But No, the Lynch movie will always be my favorite, and part of it, I guess, is because of the fact that it's one of the rare movies that my dad and I went to go see. Because, Dad didn't usually go to the movies very much unless it was something epic and sci-fi, because that's the only time he would ever, travel outside of the home to go watch it in the theater. And that's a movie we shared. So
it's a good one to share, though, man. You walked into that theater, boy, and came out a man. You came out
Pretty
the
much.
Kwisatz Haderach.
I mean, seriously.
Yes.
Of course, hadn't read the book at that time. I read it later and realized, there were some significant changes here and there. But
I remember seeing it in the cinema because they still had an intermission, which was already becoming rare in films at that time. But they figured Dune was such a long film that they had to have an intermission.
Oh, I remember.
I only wish it was longer.
I really wish it had. Everybody for years spread this rumor that there's actually a 5-hour version of Dune, and I heard it all the way up until the point where he finally confirmed that there is no 5-hour version of this.
There is a fan-made 3.5-hour cut.
The Spice Diver edition, which is really good. It's probably the one you should watch. But also, I got to give credit to the sci-fi series, because the sci-fi series got so many details right. And I guarantee if they'd have had the budget of one of the Villeneuve films, it would have been like the go-to Dune for everybody to watch, because they would have had the special effects budget. They would have had the acting budget. It would have been insane.
What do you mean? Bill Skarsgård was perfect for sitting in a room going, "My Dune, my Dune." You actually gonna do any plotting that we can understand on the screen? My Dune.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? We've Dune it all.
I mean, seriously, it's like, and they also did Children of Dune, which nobody has done a second film yet. Although I hear Villeneuve is going to make another one, so I'm like, well.
Every time you say his name, I just imagine he's somewhere like, oh.
I hope so.
Every time talking about me.
Every time I say his name, I feel like another sci-fi project gets handed to him.
Oh God!
Every time you pronounce Dune in a different way, it gives me that same shudder.
Every time we say Villeneuve, the French get a little more smug.
There you go.
Impossible.
Is he French? What the hell is he? Is he like Ecuadorian or something? Yeah, the Dune RTS game was really good, Ironhead. But no, I watched the movie before I got the RTS, but that was a really good one.
Dune.
The SF series was book accurate. Yes, it was.
Dune is a story that would give Sly Flourish a reason to sly flourish in his pants over all the colonialism of a desert.
He would hate it. He probably does hate it. And actually, what I
Denis is French Canadian.
Oh, French Canadian
explains a lot. It's like Irish American.
He's worse.
Yeah.
Worse. Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's like I remember whenever the first Dune movie came out, and you had all these youngsters and stuff like that who hadn't actually read the book series, talking about how this is a film about anti-corporatism and anti-this and anti-big government and I'm just kind of like, you haven't read the books, have you? You don't know how this shit ends yet, do you?
Frank Herbert's like, what if a hot chick could kill you with her voice? I'm hiding that right now. God.
I mean, Alia of the 11 Blades. It's like she's not somebody to, you're not supposed to. These characters are initially really, really cool, and then you find out more about what happens to them as the series goes on. You're kind of like, oh, this
is the problem with, and this is I call it the Alan Moore goal. Oh, you like these particular characters? Well, they're really assholes, and you should feel really bad about liking them.
Yeah, well, I mean, that asshole who made the second Joker film tried to do that with his Joker film, and it ended up, becoming the worst film of 2024 in many people's opinion.
That's because we enjoyed movies wrong. We didn't understand what he was trying to make, and the wrong people liked it.
Oh.
Why are you against a person who opposes the slaughter of millions of people in New York? Why don't you support the deaths of many to preserve the greater many?
It's a rational transaction. One life for millions.
Savo says, was the release of Dune Mescaline for the new version of Blade Runner? Savo, there's only one Blade Runner movie. Okay, end of story.
Certainly not another one working right now.
There's certainly not a second film that wears the name Blade Runner that was created by Villeneuve. There's certainly that does not exist. Yeah.
No idea it was the same guy. That's hilarious.
I kind of feel bad for Michelle Yeoh because as far as I can tell, she's a big sci-fi fan, so she's just saying yes to any sci-fi that comes her way, and she's getting the worst stuff.
Yeah, but she's demanding huge amounts of money and getting paid for it. So I mean, why not?
She's
got money. You know how big she was before she blew up in the U.S. I mean, she had retired from acting multiple times.
I know this is probably going to get me like a lot of hate, but I don't particularly think she's that good of an actor.
No, like her whole thing was she was a Hong Kong action star. So yeah,
yeah, she's a Hong Kong action star.
You create scarcity by saying I'm going to retire and then I come back, and it works for some people, and for some people it's just really a tired actor. It's like, can you really just stay gone?
Yeah,
you're going to quit this thing several times, but you keep coming back. What's wrong?
Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh yeah, Hayao Miyazaki. But the one guy I actually do miss from Hong Kong cinema was Chow Yun-fat. That guy was awesome. And he just kind of
watched Bulletproof Monk the other day.
Yeah, and then he just kind of like fell off the planet. I mean, I guess right after Bulletproof Monk, because I don't remember anything that came out after that.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah, no, was he in that?
Yes, he was Roshi.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger looks better to be Roshi now.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know he was in something else. I vaguely remember seeing it, but I can't. It wasn't that movie, because there was a movie with Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I want to say he was a character in that, but I can't verify that.
It was like Zhao 2 or something like that. I'm trying to remember. They're not in it very long. They're like side characters. They just decide to emphasize them because they're bigger stars than the lead.
Wait a minute. We got Culture Casino out in the audience. Okay, Culture, can you actually make it this time? I will send you a link right now, sir. Hang on a minute. Culture's been dying to come on, so there we go. There you go, sir. You got a link. You can come on.
It'll be a family reunion.
Yeah, I mean, Culture is a perfect person to talk film with. But the one he was in with Mira Sorvino, that was what was it? Something Killers? The like the retired killers, re-educated killers. What was it? Something Killers?
Replacement Killers.
Replacement Killers. Yeah, that's it. That was not a bad film.
Yeah. Man, I'm kind of just depressed because not just the damage that's being done to the houses nearby, but some people I know actually have had to evacuate, might lose their homes, and one filmmaker got involved with, his partner who's he's aiming to help me out, possibly get some stuff off the ground. His business partners lost their homes, so this has put a big throwback on what he's doing.
I would think so.
Yep. So it's not just houses being destroyed; entire career aspirations are potentially being thrown down the well for a lot of people making a lot of good stuff for us.
It is sad. I mean, although I honestly would say that Hollywood was burning long before it was actually burning.
Well, Hollywood's been taking advantage of the and pushing for an escape plan for a while, because they've been pushing productions all around the world, taking advantage of all the tax loopholes, the stuff up in Canada, which I'm a little surprised to see how that'll go with all the stuff going on there with Trudeau resigning and that. But you've got all that production also going over to the UK to take advantage of the 25% tax credit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have those big indoor studios, which are useful for big productions.
Pinewood.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way things are set with permits, unless like they just decide to hand wave it, a shit ton of people or talent is going to leave. So this might be one of the big death nails for the industry. They could have held on for maybe another 10, 15 years, but now this just might be like 4 or 5 years, and it just might be like what New York was when Hollywood was founded.
And hey, Culture.
Hello.
What do you think about the discussion so far?
Well, I feel like we didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning.
Nice.
Say that. I also believe that I think the greatest tragedy was to Patrice Cullors lost 2 of her mansions in this fire. So big blow to BLM, build large mansions.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw, but it's like 100% of the initial cleanup is going to be covered by federal tax dollars. So the rebuild effort is being backed by the larger tax base. Meanwhile, let's not forget our friends in the Carolinas that did not get that same.
Anywhere in the Southeast, Patty. Anywhere.
Yeah.
I actually was yelling about that earlier this morning. I'm very angry.
Hawaii never got that kind of help.
They didn't get any help, and again, I mean, it's Team Blue, right? And California was Team Blue in the election, so they get the love of Big Blue. In fact, Act Blue is even stomping for assistance for California, a political action committee that actually is now being going to be investigated by the next administration. Is backing relief efforts in California. I don't think they can do that, but what they can do is collect a lot of money. So for Democrats. So that's great. Thanks for that. In fact, I believe it's outside of their charter to do anything other than support blue candidates.
I live in Florida. And I remember very clearly a couple months ago when we got hit by a massive hurricane.
Elena.
Well, Milton is what I'm thinking of.
Milton and then
Milton,
Elena.
yeah, both of them. We got hit like back to back. It was like 2 weeks. And I'm not saying that the federal government shouldn't help California. And in fact, I have great sympathy for the people of California. But I certainly remember when we had FEMA in Florida and they were giving out instructions to skip certain houses based on political affiliation.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes, they were.
Yep.
And they said if you see any Trump signs outside, skip the house.
As a matter of fact, the lady that got fired for saying it said that, no, this is like in our training packet. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm sure they got the paper towels.
And I'm certainly not saying that California doesn't deserve federal aid. I think it does. But it's just kind of a stark difference between people that maybe didn't think Florida did, But there was something else. Another difference is Florida, we can't prevent hurricanes. They just happen. There's nothing we can do to prevent it.
Well,
however,
we can stop helping them along.
Yeah, true.
However, I mean, I believe, and man, I really don't want to speak on this. Actually, I don't know why I am. I've read that there's a lot of forest management that could have been done to stop this.
Goodness, yes. Oh wow, you are spot on. Yeah, they have terrible land management and terrible wildlife management. Their forestry department is criminally negligent in this particular area. And if they weren't getting the state assistance that they needed to be out on every single social media platform and everywhere else, exposing the fact that they didn't have enough money to do the job. So I'm just saying, I mean, you got plenty of money to save a fish, but not plenty of money to put them in the reservoirs, water in the reservoirs, or to make sure that you have a proper water balance. So you get water pumped back up to cisterns. It has been reported, I'm not sure if it's 100% correct, but it has been reported that there was no money, and the cistern or the reservoir that is in that community, Pacific Palisades, by the way, lots of personal memories there for me. that they did not have any water in that. It was quote unquote offline.
Well, my understanding is that California, I mean LA and all those parts are actually basically they stole all their water from a nearby area that used to be, you know, have a decent sized reservoir, lake, and everything else, and they basically just got the land rights and pumped it all into LA.
So just imagine, if you will, for a second, right? You're playing your RPG game, and all of a sudden there's like a fire started in the forest, and like the elves are like, they're like, no, this is cool. This is what we do to keep the fire elementals from wiping out our entire forest in one go. But then the local gnome population says, oh, but the trees are so beautiful. How dare you? No, you're not allowed to burn your own forest anymore. And then the fire elemental comes and says, that looks like a tasty forest meal, a banquet, if you will.
Wow, thank you. I understand politics now that you put it.
Yes. It's even worse. I mean, I can only speak for California. I work on a military base, and one very important thing with it, they don't have to follow any of the fire codes or any of the building codes on it. So there's several buildings on the bases I work at which should be condemned, like rotten wood, that kind of stuff. But they're not, because it's federal land and they can do whatever the hell they want.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing at governmental levels, especially federal, where they don't have to abide by mandates set by administrative rules, which is why none of the senators or House of Representative members were, pokey poked.
Yep.
On the other hand, the Theosophical Society's archive burned down, so it's not all bad.
Jeez.
You know, one of the things that
Did you see the massive 5-alarm fire in the Bronx today?
No.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
I know it's heading up towards the 405 now, the Pacific Palisades one. I don't know if it's gotten there yet, but it's on its way.
Oh, it's creeping, and in a bad way. It's only going to get worse. That's the thing. First of all, the Santa Anas are going to kick back up tomorrow. The Marine layer will retreat, at least for a day or two. And then you got more problems. And look, I've been saying it out loud. I'm going to say it here too. All of my friends in San Diego County, go out and clean out all the brush and dead wood from behind your houses. If you have a canyon that's near your home, clear that all out. Go to work. Do yourself and your community a favor. Because as the Santa Ana winds can cool you off during the day, and so do the trade winds in Hawaii, and in the worst part of the day, they can also blow your house, full of flames, full of sparks, full of embers. So be very careful. Be very vigilant. Is that right?
Vigilant.
Thank you. And diligent. That I got the two words confused. I'm old. But you need to do both of those things, and we need more and more of that. So everything I've heard so far has been brilliant. Except I think some of you have some interesting ideas about film, but it's fine.
Oh, okay.
One other thing to add with it. Check the weather for my local area. Monday, the winds are supposed to pick up again.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. And the marine layer is going to not be there to help. There's a lot of problems, cold or not, or cooler or not, I should say, in California, especially Southern California. That this is the worst possible circumstance, and it was absolutely predictable. And the fact that they did not have all the things mitigated ahead of time tells you just how poor the leadership is, right? It doesn't at a state level. Consider this: the last massive fire that I can remember was in Northern California, the Bay Area near Oakland and the likes, right? Burlingame, all that stuff, just outside of the major city. You remember the orange fire? We were talking about it on YouTube. I remember I was talking about it. Everything was orange in the Bay Area. This is the same problem. It started for much the same reasons, except for the ones that were intentionally started. I guess we've arrested some arsonists and looters now. Good for you. But at the same time, if you look at what happened in the northern part of the state just a couple of years ago, it was all created by a spark from high tension wires because of a fault. They call it a FUALT fault. So anyway, it is what it is. But anyway, I didn't come on here to pontificate. You guys got me fired up. This thing gets me angry.
I could tell.
I'm right next to it. Like, believe me, your anger is justified.
Yeah. Well, and again, I spent much of my young life in California, right? Either residing there or vacationing there or whatever. And I can tell you, the memories are being erased left and right.
Yep.
I'm sad to see a lot of those old Californian homes going away. And I tried to let everybody know that Joel had to leave. So,
sorry, Joel. I feel like a schmuck.
That's fine. I'm closer to Harmony now, so I'm good.
Ooh.
There you go.
No, we're all the way over. You're all the way over there.
Here we go. We got to reestablish our red zone here.
Oh.
The red zone.
The red zone, yes. All right. So, really quick, just to kind of sum up what happened this week, I've got our friend Kyle, so we can actually, he's very good about summing up what's happened in the industries and stuff. So, why don't we check out one of his really fun little videos, and we can pontificate on that for just a couple minutes while we.
Bud Light, Jaguar, Target, Boeing, diverse discrimination ongoing. Spit too much truth, prepare to be slandered. Hedgehog fails DEI standards.
Okay, so what happened with that? What happened with this? So what? It's like what the Sonic 3 movie released, and they said that it wasn't eligible for an Oscar because it didn't meet the qualifying standards for Best Picture.
Wait a minute. I just did a video on how racist the Oscars are now.
Oh, yeah. Well, not that we don't know that already.
Oh,
but,
no.
yeah.
I think we've been talking about it for a while, T-shirt, way back. Remember when they were presenting this idea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know we talked about it way back when.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's like, what do I tell you? We have a blue and black hedgehog. How's this not diverse?
and an echidna. And an echidna played by a black actor. I mean, come on now.
Well, don't forget the white guy married to the black lady, and then her sister and her husband, and then like the second in command at gun was a female. What do you want? What was that not diverse enough? I think there's a point in there where Jim Carrey even says, "I have become unattractive to all known genders." Like, what do you mean?
I mean, he's not wrong, but
what do you exactly? That was an amazing movie, start to finish. They just didn't want to give it to a video game movie because who would have thought? Who would in years and decades of cinema, especially movies based off of established IPs of a different production style, that for once we'd get not one, not two, but 3 immaculate video game tie-in movies. And they got their diversity, and they didn't make it feel like crap. You know what the problem was? Nobody complained about the diversity in Sonic, so that's why it wasn't diverse enough. It didn't hit that well.
Well, this is sort of the trade-off, because this year they weren't able to get that big push of quote-unquote outrage like they were with previous years. Like, you remember when the first movie came out, you had people trying to make the bold claim that Sonic was so offensive, and like, he got the hard R. Take your kids to go see the Harley Quinn movie instead, when the movie hadn't even premiered.
Wait, Sonic's did what?
The claim was people were trying to say that Sonic was offensive, would like drop the hard R or some.
Wait, when did this happen?
This was all like 2020, like before the movie came out. You had a lot of those really, really suspicious, Twitter accounts that were all standing the, culture. Do you remember the full name of that Harley Quinn movie?
No.
Birds of Prey.
It was
the fantabulous
the wonderful emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Fantabulous.
That's what it was.
Yeah. No, you were right. Yep. No, you were right on top of it. But yes, that's what it was, and nobody cared. Nobody cared. See, and this is the thing that I'm getting tired of now is that the tweets I've been responding to today. I'm like, okay, like Kotaku. Did you see the bologna sausage they tried to throw out there?
No,
I quote posted them out there earlier today, but recently there's just been a wrestling site that is trying to say, I'm actually responding to that now. This is Ringside News. They said speculation heats up over Vince McMahon's potential return. WWE return amid legal turmoil. Ringside News. And so I'm like, name more than 20 people not working for you who are seriously speculating on this. That's what I'm about to send. because I'm sick and tired of the clickbait baloney sausage they try to put out there. You know, a
Indeed.
headline, a headline, a thumbnail, and baloney sausage. Nobody cares. It's the same thing. Like, I mean, I'm serious. Like, Kotaku was like, people are speculating on blah blah blah, and I'm like, nobody's doing that.
Well, I do have something to say about that whole Kotaku thing, but I'm gonna wait until we get through this.
I'm sorry. I'm undermining the show. I apologize.
No.
No, you're fine.
Real quick, my favorite of those is, rumors say that they're bringing back Firefly. And the article says, no, they're not. And like,
No,
you
they're not.
motherfuckers, you.
We wish. I wish, but let's see.
Well, I mean, do you know who I think is the best at that? It's not Kotaku.
No.
It's oh gosh, who's the greatest YouTube grifter of them all?
That's so hard to debate right there.
Grace Randolph.
Oh gosh, yeah, she's terrible.
Yeah, she's huge.
So
What Alana Pierce? I mean, she's in some actual video games. The Sphere Hunter. She's pretty bad. She's in like a bunch of stuff that she's shilling for as well.
I'm getting this sense of it's a lot of women, but I mean, then again, women are popular YouTubers.
Sphere Hunter's trans, so.
Okay.
Technically.
Anyway, let's see.
She's all woman, not body type B. Netties pledge edge unseen since the 90s. China less commie than a woke neo-Marxist blonde white woman. Invigorate the market.
Yeah, there we go. So let me pull that back.
Okay, that was that was a good clip.
That was a good clip. Kyle says, actually hiding the replies that contradict the brain damage Gooner argument. Pretty digital women is the cyber holocaust for jealous queers. Heterosexual appeal and polygons in attractive blonde woman shapes will be too much for tourists in 2025. Fan service in shonen? Yeah.
People are losing over that over the alternate skin for Sue Storm, the Malice skin.
Yes, they are. Marvel Rivals is it's going big because those guys are just kind of like saying, screw you. We're just, we know what sells our game, and we're proving it every single day. Because it's not just good gameplay and really interesting characters; it's also really good-looking characters, and I mean both genders.
Speaking of some really good characters, T-shirt.
What do you got? I got you on screen. Never. Oh no!
Is that really disguised as another dude?
Is that a real mod though?
That's a real mod.
That's a real mod. That one hasn't gotten taken down yet.
Well, it's not.
Well, it's not political.
Why would that not be? Okay,
no, it's a simple race swap. I mean, those are totally allowed. Come on,
for the guys that weren't tracking, they pulled down not only the Trump cap ahead, but they pulled down the Trump and the Joe Biden. Yeah, they pulled both of them down.
They're being fair with the rules, I think, Patty. I think that's
sure.
No, I mean, if you say, look, no political stuff, I get it.
I think it doesn't matter though. Marvel, they stopped mods though. That game, I guess they came out with an update that doesn't allow mods, even though they're like aesthetic ones that only you see when you're playing your own game.
Yeah, because they want people to buy skins.
What was one of the mods in a game I used to play with other people, which I really shouldn't have, allowed you to be like the dad figure from South Park.
Oh,
Randy.
Yeah, as one of the characters. It was, it's one of those kill the zombie kind of things. It was.
Oh yeah, like Doom or something.
Dead Island or something like that.
Oh yeah, Dead Island. Yeah.
Cool.
But anyway, sorry.
No,
I can easily steer this conversation away from any topic you're talking about.
That's kind of what the panels do anyway. I mean, that's everybody has a take on stuff. That's why we like panels.
Ben Grimm, because I'm all bricked up. Fantastic. Fanny Sue Storm got a dump truck.
Yeah.
Problematic from a bygone.
This is
unrealistic, dated, distracting, not in a good way, hyper proportioned, old from a bygone era from the neck down is problematic and has issues.
I have a question. How is this
You
not
do.
body shaming?
It is. It is body shaming. It's body shaming legitimate women.
Well, Harmony, you forgot the part where it's okay when they do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's body shaming. Like if you can't say anything about overweight people or people who aren't as fit as they should be, then what is this? Like, you can't shame people for being fit and having a nice figure. Like that you should be aspiring to that. You shouldn't be shaming people for that. That's a sign of a degrading society.
Well, that's
Harmony,
it is, but that's not body positive. Your perspective has to be wrong. Although I know what side of the fat fence I'm on. A lot of other people can't accept.
But by the way, the female equivalent, just look up Love in Deep Space. That game is like super targeted towards women. And yeah, the men are all like super attractive.
Okay, what was this game called again?
Love in Deep Space. It's a gotcha. Just forewarning you.
Oh God! Ooh.
Yeah, it's a gotcha.
Wait,
but just look at how the guys are and tell me that this is not targeted perfectly towards women.
Is it on Steam?
I forget what it's on. I think it's on. I know it's on mobile. I mean, you can just type into YouTube and
pretty much.
Look,
pretty much anything that's on mobile is on Steam now.
Yeah.
So if I can clarify, the quotes on top of the image here, are they made by this gentleman in the pictures below? Is that why these two are put together here?
I am honestly not sure. It's just images that Kyle chose to use for this, so I'm guessing there's some correlation, but I don't know.
All right.
Are you talking about soy bro no chest here?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one.
He's mighty close to the edge of that rooftop. I'm glad he's in America.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know.
I mean, he's a Korean.
Oh, correct. Oh yeah, he's a everyone okay with loot until the rooftop starts shooting.
I love his very feminine posture there on that roof.
He's wearing the same colors as Susan Storm. Is that not like his low effort cosplay?
Well, no, maybe, but I mean, I just feel like he's a cheerleader that wants to be tossed around or tossed up or tossed around by somebody.
Something gets tossed.
Yeah, dude, look, I have to tell you, his skirt is top notch.
Is that a skirt? I couldn't tell if they were like the old.
They were shorts.
Yeah, they look speaking like from experience culture.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, if you wanted to go out there and make sure that people saw your knees and your very feminine posture, that's the perfect skirt for it.
He's trying to catch a breeze between his knees, dog. That's Santa Ana breeze. There
you go.
Oh,
speaking of which,
on era, less gay than him was aware.
Wow, that's just like a whole cross section of what's bad about the gaming these days. Because we got Ms. Freeze.
Yeah, but you forget about Ghost of Yotai.
Oh no! See that's her over there on the end.
I know. Ghost of Yotai.
I'm disappointed. What happened to homosexuality? It used to be about everything being fabulously beautiful, and they were good at it. Now it's like they've gone the opposite.
We must uglify because we want to avoid the male gaze for some reason.
And I have to tell you, if I want to see some kind of a freak show chick, I'm definitely going to go play Cyberpunk 2077.
There you go. I mean, that's perfect for that.
And that's aesthetically pleasing.
True. You can even design it yourself. They added more options.
I thought it was really weird with the schlong thing. I was like, I don't want to
you don't even see it ever.
No, not really. I mean, unless you run around without any shorts on.
What happened? They muted all the intimate scenes in that game. You remember when you used to smash that other corpo chick with the weird haircut?
Yeah, what about her?
You ended up with that giant phallic bludgeoning
Sir
device.
John Falstaff.
Yeah. What happened with that too? They redesigned the Schwang.
I don't remember. I mean, I haven't seen that happen yet, so I'm curious.
Have you not played the edited version of the game?
I don't know if I've played the edited version. I play the game unmodified.
When was the last time you played it?
Literally like today before the show.
Oh, all right.
I have 589.9 hours on Cyberpunk, so.
Okay. That's almost.
But you have to have a certain set of conditions happen in your game in order to get some of those things to happen, and I haven't always done that. But
okay. Well, I feel like they depowered my digital warlock, but that's an entirely other conversation.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutamente Chloe to.
Oh my.
No.
Pet to row about to flush a rainbow. Asian prophet sudden.
U.S. Department of Defense officially designates League of Legends Path of Exile 2 parent company Tencent as one of many Chinese military companies operating within the country. That was news I got this week.
And it's true.
I mean, they're basically just going, yeah, just fun stuff in and slowly buy up all the gaijin companies and then take over.
Mm-hmm.
All the companies that they funded to intentionally ruin so they could take the price on them and then buy them outright.
I mean,
yeah, you don't have to worry about making a profit when you can print your own money.
yeah. Well, I mean, they've got other Chinese companies that are just selling really great games that are good, like, Black Myth Wukong.
This is why like 90% of the good games that come out nowadays are indies anyway.
Yes, agreed. Ubisoft, they definitely lost the plot.
Because these like giant companies are buying up like all of the gaming infrastructure and they're putting it out. Like the AAA games that come out, they're like way overfunded. And so you end up with games with like amazing graphics, but they don't sell enough copies to justify the funding. So you have to like put in all these microtransactions and it's just not worth playing. Like I don't even dislike this because of the DEI feminist gay stuff. I just dislike it because I don't like how they're making their money. No. And we're seeing more and more of it. We've seen most of it over the last few years. It's just been like they've been releasing stuff that looks kind of nice, but it doesn't play very well, or it's got very bad voice acting, or it's got lots of injections of politics, or it is buggy as hell and needs all kinds of day one patching in order to make it work properly. You remember that scene from Dragon Age that like was everywhere? The lady just like sits down at the table with her family. I was like, I'm non-binary. Like, why is this in a video game? What's this have to do with killing monsters? Is this important? Like, what is this?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, again, that's what I was saying earlier about, using modern terminology in what's supposed to be an archaic fantasy setting and how that really throws your sense of immersion off.
And see that they like, I think I brought this up last time. Like Dragon Age has always been like pretty inclusive. I mean, you have that like, what's his name? Sandal. Like, I mean, it's a pretty inclusive game without like this ham-fisted stuff. Sorry, go ahead, someone else.
No, but it was also very inclusive. It was inclusive in a way that wasn't not just ham-fisted, but nobody cared. It wasn't the feature of the game, right? It wasn't the focus of the game, and I think that's. I think Harmony. That's why a lot of us really enjoyed it up until this most recent iteration of trashness.
Yeah, I think it's a confluence of things. They're trying to squeeze the audience for more money constantly with loot boxes and paywalling aspects of the games, and they've got all these people who are trying to use the games or films or whatever else it is to proselytize to people. So it's what I call the Christian rock problem, right? Christian rock is awful because they prioritize the message over the music, and so it gets in the way, and it's not fun to listen to because they're constantly trying to preach to you, and it's the same. It's the same thing.
Grim, can you take me higher?
We're down wide open.
That was one of the greatest.
Wide open.
That was one of the greatest Super Bowl halftime shows of all time. You stop right now.
Eddie Vedder. Guy sings like he's.
I still think Michael Jackson's "Hair on Fire" was the best version.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Nah,
or his sister with the costume malfunction.
Oh, I remember that.
Years later, it's still talked about.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the highlight of that Super Bowl.
Yeah, nipples were controversial back then. Holy cow!
It wasn't a fully viewable nipple. She had like a nipple guard on.
No,
she did. She had a guard on.
I think it was attached to her piercing.
It was.
And it definitely sold a lot of the Playboys or whatever it was that she was on like a few weeks later. So people were snapping those up.
Yeah.
No male gaze wins because it's not homo mental.
Oh, whoa. What did I see back there? Hang on a minute.
No male gaze wins because it's not homo.
Dragon Age, the Veilguard lead says, experience with The Sims was a big help when designing BioWare's next RPG. How did The Sims 4 handle this?
Dude, the worst part about that was that The Sims 4 was garbage. Like, I'm a girl. I know this stuff.
Wait, how could you say that? It says the Sims 4 update added top surgery scars, binders, hearing aids, and more.
Did it really?
Later
Yes.
on,
Oh,
yeah.
gosh,
No, that-
Sims 4
that's
was
one of
like
those
the
things
worst
that-
in the series.
That's one of those things I can't get angry about. That showing up in The Sims
Like,
is actually great. I'm all
Yeah.
for that stuff showing up in The Sims. That makes
How
sense.
about Dragon Age?
Oh
No. Because why?
But by the way, when I worked at EA, there was 4 major pillars of the company, or 4 major sections of them. One of them alone was The Sims.
Well, I mean, it's still going after all these years, so
And still
Yeah.
crazy, apparently.
Yeah, it still
because
sells
they-
like crazy, even failing at 4. It's still like Madden level numbers. It's insane.
You know why
And-
it sounds like crazy? Because the women who play it don't play other video games, and so they don't realize how absolutely predatory the practices are with it. Like the whole thing for like The Sims 4 or whatever, it's like thousands of dollars if you get the whole package, right?
yeah.
And a lot of the women who play it, because I mean it is mostly geared towards women. Some guys play it too, but I mean they don't really play other video games. This is like the one game that they play, and so they're like, okay, I guess video games are just like this. I have like a thousands of dollar hobby, but like you can play another game that has like basically, I'm not going to say the same premise, but like is similar enough to The Sims, like Stardew Valley. How much is Stardew Valley? Like that game appeals to women too. It's $15. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So according
Yeah.
to Grok, there are 74 items of DLC for The Sims 4,
Jesus.
and the approximate cost of all those DLC, I'm assuming full price, $1,235.
It's ridiculous.
I'm on the wrong line of work with
That
what
is
I
the
make.
most predatory shit I've ever heard.
It's absolutely it's crazy, and this stuff started with like The Sims 3, but they like update, like the whole reason they put out The Sims 4 was to integrate more of the EA
DLC,
store,
the
or
DLC
whatever,
stuff, yeah.
not even the DLC, but the microtransactions. That's the
Yeah.
whole reason it went from 3 to 4. I
Couldn't
don't even
you-
play The Sims. I sound like I play The Sims a lot. I don't.
No, but Harmony, didn't they even institute like the ability for people to design purchasable things in the game?
I'm
Yeah.
not aware.
I thought that was Second Life.
I ran no this I think it extended into, I think that practice extended into this game, but it's one of the worst ideas. And I mean microtransactions, as Harmony said, are not just predatory, but they are like insanely rapacious. You spend a ton of money on getting all those, not just the DLCs, but all the other extra items that are there. And sometimes after a given season, you can then purchase said items. I mean, we're at a point now where I think gamers are returning to reality, but studios are not.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I think Ubisoft is going to die a quick death really soon.
Yeah, because their last few Assassin's Creed games were pretty much surviving on, well, actually all their games, like Far Cry, everything that they've been putting out was surviving on microtransactions. Get this new skin, get this new weapon, get this new pet, get this new ship, get this new mount. I mean, it's just like, and World of Warcraft has been doing that for years as well.
Of course, like a lot of these games are online only games, and the servers will go down eventually, or the servers will stop. Like they'll stop support for them, like they did for Overwatch, and then like all your
Yeah,
microtransactions.
see,
gone.
I
Tisha,
already
I
went
have
through
some
this
additional
once.
numbers for you.
You what?
I have some additional numbers for you that I think you would love to know.
Well, let me finish real quick, dude. So, yeah, I already went through this once because many years ago, there was a game called City of Heroes. And I used to play that thing pretty much obsessively. And then, of course, when City of Villains came out, I bought that, added it to the game, and I enjoyed it. And then later on, a little bit down the line, they started introducing microtransactions to where you could add more stuff to make your costumed characters look cooler and cooler and cooler. And I bought into all that stuff because I really loved City of Heroes. Well, at one point, they finally just said, we're not getting enough player support. We're not making enough money, so we're shutting down all the servers. And I was just screwed. So I've already been through this experience once. So it's one of the reasons why I'm very kind of touchy about anything like this again. It's already happened to me.
What about Dead by Daylight?
Yeah, that one.
I have some numbers for you on that one. According to my Grok numbers, all of the chapter DLCs and that come to about $279, and that's before we get the cosmetic, which is going to be about $500 on top of that. So, what, $800 for everything for Dead by Daylight? How far are you?
Oh, I'm not nearly that far. I don't go for all the cosmetics. All I ever buy for Dead by Daylight is the new bosses and the new or the new killers and the new survivors. I very rarely ever buy a new skin for anything because you can earn them in game and stuff like that, and there's just not a whole lot of call.
That's over like 10 years of like game since it released, or how long has it been? It's been a lot, like 7.
At least 8 years.
Yeah.
What else does Kyle say about this week, though? So we're stuck on The Sims and.
Yep. Let's go.
Oh, mentally ill.
Just in, Mark Zuckerberg's Meta now allows its billions of users to accuse transgenders and gay people of being mentally ill.
Okay, but look where this is coming from. BRICS. Do we care what BRICS countries think, or BRICS News thinks? No. We want that. We want them to fall off into the ocean as soon as possible and not take away the value of the petrodollar. So
says Meta on trans. Flame on! California stands. Oops, all smoke. Hydrant, no water. UK law won't protect your daughter. Pronouns race.
Oh, look, here we go. Ubisoft.
They delayed that again. I think they're trying in vain to fix it so it'll actually sell. But they already screwed up the PR with that game. They already pissed Japan off, so they're better off just releasing it.
Well, I think that's funny because, whenever they announced the release date was March 20th, and then it was just kind of like, that's the same day that they had the Tokyo subway sarin attack, right? Like, whoops! Missed that detail with your history, did you?
Swap Butch, oh my, record layoffs in 2025.
Yeah, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League developer Rocksteady, hit by end of the year layoffs.
Dude, how do you go from all of the goodwill from the Arkham Asylum games to that? Really?
By releasing one game where you terribly mishandle the way that A, it's played, and B, how you send off Batman, who was voiced by, Troy, what's his name?
Kevin Conroy.
Or was it Kevin Conroy?
Yeah, and the bigger issue was stupid is that the people that ran Rocksteady before, they've already left the company. They left it like I think 2 or 3 years into development of Kill the Justice League to found another company. Like they knew what Warner Brothers wanted was going to tank it, so they just said we're done.
Yeah, after acquisition, the founders, after a certain amount of time, did bail, and they did it, with their eyes wide open. It's the same reason that, what is it, Monster Machine or whatever it is that sold off Concord, in the studios there to Sony. They knew that game, if the minute Sony got a hold of it, would have been ideologically driven. They weren't all that far along, so selling that, that company off was a no-brainer to them. Look, I predicted that 9 studios would die in 2024 as far as game studios, and well more than 14 did. This year I upped my number to 12. I think I may be undergoing 2025 as well. I think that as you look forward on the gaming horizon, any of these studios compromised by any DEI, ESG baloney sausage, or by the consultancy groups like Black Girl Gamers or Sweet Baby Inc. or any of those, they're all doomed.
They are.
Kim Bel-Air is cancer, basically.
Basically.
Well, we've gotten to a place now where the studios are starting to now recognize that all these YouTubers that the journalists were telling them they were just all toxic, don't listen to them. They're finally starting to get the message that they might have to actually kind of take into consideration the things they say, or at the very least, fear pissing them off or getting their attention.
Do you think RPGs and war games are going to suffer the same fate because it doesn't seem like I've seen any. I don't see numbers on Kickstarter. Like you still see 5th edition flavored Kickstarters doing pretty much fucking gangbusters. Do you think that's ever going to hit us, or do you think that we're insulated because of the aforementioned learning barrier to get into RPGs?
Isn't Warhammer already going through that? Because there was a bunch of shops that said, "Hey, we aren't selling, and we're actually like pivoting away from Warhammer because the shit ain't selling anymore."
Well,
it was they didn't fulfill orders. That's right.
Yeah, and the believe it or not, I think recently they were trying to decanonize the custodes, the female custodes.
Well, I think they went back and they said that there was a mistake there, and that if there was the one that was in the, I think their premium video service is, and some of that stuff is actually really cool. I haven't watched it in over a year, but I think they said that was a fluke. I could be wrong, but I think they backtracked that one pretty heavily.
Yeah,
well,
and I think that the thing driving Cavil's project forward, which I happen to know quite a bit about, I think they were able to negotiate away from weird stuff like that. So Cavil's still on board with the project. It's still moving forward, and despite a lot of people reporting that it wasn't, which made me angry because they didn't know.
Yep. So. But I will say this, as somebody who worked in a game store, a couple of game stores actually, I got to see firsthand exactly how Citadel / Games Workshop has always had predatory practices when it comes to dealing with others. First off, if you're not an official Games Workshop store, you're only allowed to carry and sell Games Workshop stuff bought from them if you have a certain amount of it in your store. Like you have to have like $1,000 worth of Games Workshop stuff in your store at all times. You have to have like minimum order requirements and all these other things. And the crappy thing about all this is the fact that, let's say you're in a hobby or you're in a town that's big enough to support an actual Games Workshop store in the same place where you have your hobby shop selling Games Workshop stuff. They will undercut your ass so hard and give away so much free stuff that you won't be able to move any of that Games Workshop shit.
Well, which is especially unfortunate, especially I'm considering some of these stores have very limited space, so they can't dedicate a whole lot to
exactly
that.
There is they had a requirement for the amount of space that you had to have and the amount of product that you had to have on hand in order to sell at all times.
I do hope that some of the upcoming war games that are going to take off. Like I'm certainly rooting for that new Gundam one.
I'm going to be an interrupting asshole and say that Ginger had to go.
Okay, well, Ginger, I'm sorry you had to go too, but everybody's kind of having to check out, so let's get through this.
Let's finish KO.
Since Woke left good money on the table.
Marvel Rivals first month revenue estimated 136 million, including 36 million in China alone. That's called a win, people.
Government banned everything but.
World's biggest anime piracy site added to 2024 notorious streaming list by the U.S. government. Oh no!
I hate that.
Cable beauty bad says.
Looking for games to de-radicalize boys and young men. Doesn't appear outwardly feminist or have overtly girl power vibe. De-radicalizing racism and xenophobia. Oh dear.
Another TQ plus male gaze hater oozing mucus.
Ugh.
More nutty than a sharded deuce. Inclusion has exhausted its use.
Wow. Diversity and inclusion advisor at Splash Damage Studio.
I mean, they're going to get rid of these departments because it's how many hundreds of thousands are they blowing on these people?
Exactly. I mean, and by the way, this video was created by Kyle. He's another great YouTuber. He's much bigger than me, so he's got more subs. But if you do subscribe to him, and I do recommend you do, please tell him T-Shirt had sent you, because I love the dude. But yeah, it's like, even in our TTRPG hobby, we've got that problem because Wizards of the Coast has how many consultants for every project, they have to have it read by 3 consultants, and then it has to finally be editorialized by 3 consultants. So how much is that job costing WotC extra?
Well, the sensitivity bullshit is exactly that. I mean, look, you're creating a fantasy game, and if people don't like it, they're not going to buy it. So your audience is going to tell you what's acceptable and what's not. So you don't need those people. You're not going to bring in some kind of new demographic that magically appears somewhere into RPGs.
Well,
okay?
the thing is, they're actually called theater kids.
Yep. Their kids took over, and it was a fucking disaster.
Well, you know, I like to think about what Savo had to say about it. You know, at some point, this will end, and there'll be another edition of D&D, and it'll be 10 or 15 years down the road, and we'll all look back at 2024 D&D and 5th edition D&D, and it'll just kind of be looked at as like well, that happened, and everybody will go on. I mean, it's like, you know, I still remember whenever they announced 4th edition, and, you know, we were still looking for Pathfinder stuff at that point because we weren't going to go 4th edition, and we would go to the used bookstores, the big ones, and there'd be tons of 4th edition stuff all over the shelves.
I called it World of Warcraft 2.
I like 4th edition.
Some people do.
They're the same. I think I've said it a dozen times. Where I don't like 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons, but I like the rule set. My favorite version of the rules is 7th edition Gamma World, and not because it's excellent Gamma World, just because it's great mutant fights.
There you go. All right, guys. I think we've pretty much torn up everything we can for now. I'm hoping we'll get some really juicy news coming up in the next week or so, especially so we can have a Tuesday show. And hopefully I won't get stuck in the ER again all night. But
are you running or playing tomorrow?
What are you planning on running tomorrow?
It would still be Ryutama because we haven't managed since before Christmas.
I will try to be there because I definitely want to play Ryutama. I got the book and everything. I just haven't really sat down to read it.
Okay.
So, okay. Tomorrow, Ryutama at Grimm's.
Yes.
Join us.
Bring cheesy poofs.
Yes, bring cheesy poofs. All right, everybody out there in YouTube land. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Long show, but I kind of felt like it was a good thing because we'd missed so many. So, and we had lots of really cool guests. So thank you all for coming.
See ya.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all take care and have a great week in Geek.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.